Uh, okay, we are going to start soon. Before that, just a little bit announcement. Um, because today this solidarity event will be live streamed, so we will use the camera behind it. So for everyone during this talk, please don't try to not move around. If you otherwise you will block the camera. If you want to go to the toilet, maybe you go to the other side. Just some technical announcement. So, salam sejahtera, saudara-saudari sekalian. Nama saya Yap Hua, selaku pengerusi Persatuan Teoh Beng Hock untuk Perkembangan Demokrasi. Today I supposed to chair this discussion together with my colleagues, Saudara Teoh Beng Hock, that is Civil Rights Committee of KL and Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall, as the co-chair, co-organizer for today's event. So, first of all, I would like to welcome everyone to attend today's Solidarity with Teoh Beng Hock family event. As you know, Teoh family received a letter from the police on 20th May saying that after the investigation by the police from 2018 until now, after 7 years, the police has classified the case as no further action. And also the AG chamber also clarified that there's insufficient evidence to prosecute anyone. That's why they want to close the case. So indeed, the Teoh family was and is still very angry with this decision. And Teoh family, Leland, has issued multiple statements on this matter. And Teoh Beng Hock Association for Democratic Advancement and other civil society group and student group have also made their position clear that no further action, this is not acceptable. Today, the purpose of this meeting is actually we want to hear from more civil society organizations that they want to lend support to the case, to this journey to pursue justice for Beng Hock. It has been 16 years. We hope the Legion chance can bring hope, can ensure justice for the Teoh family. But the result is quite disappointing. So today we, as a co-organizer, we won't make a lot of statement. We just provide one platform for the civil society leaders to give their solidarity support. So without further ado, sorry, before that, maybe we can have a group photo first before we proceed with these speeches from the civil society leaders. So may I invite Teoh family and also the civil society speakers to come forward to take a group photo. Yeah, everyone, please. So today's meeting we will use the multilingual. So we will use all Malaysian language, Bahasa, English, Chinese, and Tamil if anyone. Testing. 1, 2. Okay, thank you. So, testing. Testing. Okay. Okay. So without further ado, may I invite Saudara Faizal Aziz, the chairperson of the Coalition for Green and Fair Election, Bersih, to give this solidarity speech.
Hidup, hidup. Hidup rakyat. Kami tuntut keadilan, reformasi, SPRM. Hidup, hidup. Hidup rakyat. Kami tuntut keadilan, reformasi, SPRM. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih rakan-rakan pimpinan CSO yang saya hormati, ahli keluarga mendiang Teoh Beng Hock, simpati kita kepada mendiang, kepada keluarga mendiang, dan juga kepada penganjur KL Shah dan juga semua rakan-rakan yang saya hormati sekalian. Saya tak cakap panjang sebab nak bagi ruang kepada rakan-rakan NGO juga untuk berucap. Baik, ada 3 perkara saja yang ingin saya tegaskan. Iaitu yang pertama, kita difahamkan peguam kepada keluarga Teoh Beng Hock menerima surat daripada polis berkaitan dengan siasatan No Further Action NFA. Tapi persoalan yang kita kemukakan dalam surat tersebut menyatakan bahawa siasatan di bawah Seksyen 342 Kanun Kesiasaan. Itulah sebabnya tidak ada No Further Action atau tidak ada tindakan lanjut. Mengapa perlu ia disiasat di bawah 342, iaitu unlawful confinement ataupun kurungan salah? Sedangkan dalam kes Teoh Beng Hock ini kita tahu ia melibatkan unsur kematian. Kenapa tidak didakwa di bawah 302 ataupun 304, murder ataupun culpable homicide? Dan kita tahu, saya tak perlu ulang, tapi saya sebut sikit perkara-perkara yang kita tahu. Mahkamah Rayuan menekankan bahawa terdapat unsur-unsur unlawful act dalam ketika mana siasatan itu dibuat yang membawa kepada unsur-unsur kematian Teoh Beng Hock. Jadi bukan isu unlawful confinement. Ya, memang dia ditahan, ada arrest mengikut undang-undang, tapi persoalannya apakah tindakan-tindakan unlawful act yang membawa kepada unsur-unsur kematian. Jadi ini persoalan yang harus dirungkaikan. Kenapa pihak polis tidak menyiasat perkara ini di bawah 302 ataupun 304 Kanun Kesiasaan. Dan yang kedua, tuan-tuan, bila bicara tentang Teoh Beng Hock ini, kita ada juga kes lain. Sebelum ni kes Ahmad Saibani dalam SPRM juga disiasat di dalam premis SPRM. Jadi perkara ini berlaku berulang-ulang, bukan dalam satu kes tapi kes-kes yang lain. Dan yang lebih utama bila sebut juga tentang NFA, saya nak sebut juga baru-baru ini juga mungkin tidak ada kaitan dengan kes SPRM. Pemain bola sepak kebangsaan Faizal Halim juga peguam, dia mendapat surat NFA. Kes mana beliau disibak asid sampai hari ini tak ada siasatan lanjut. Sebab apa? Sebab dapat surat NFA. Jadi persoalan yang kita kemukakan, adakah polis ingin memberi indikasi bahawa mereka ini tidak efisien? Siasatan berlalu panjang, ada CCTV, tapi akhirnya NFA tak ada tindakan lanjut, tak ada bukti. Dan lebih parah, adakah polis nak menyatakan, memberi indikasi bahawa kita berada dalam negara yang tidak selamat? Cuba bayangkan kalau perkara ini berlaku kepada diri kita, kalau perkara ini berlaku kepada keluarga kita dan sebagainya. Tiba-tiba NFA tidak ada tindakan lanjut. Adakah kita nak membiarkan penjenayah di luar yang melakukan unlawful act ini dengan mudah dibebaskan tanpa tindakan lanjut? Jadi ini yang membahayakan kita. Keselamatan negara, kita berada dalam sistem negara rule of law. Di manakah kedaulatan undang-undang kita untuk pastikan negara kita ini negara yang selamat, untuk memastikan kita rakyat berhak untuk mendapat keselamatan, hidup dengan aman, sentosa dan bahagia. Dan yang ketiga, yang terakhir, isu SPRM. Kita ada sebelum ini kita ada berharap daripada Sogo ke dataran mereka, isu azam baki. Betul, azam baki ini perlu diganti, tapi bila sebut tentang SPRM, bukan hanya azam baki, tapi ia melibatkan sistemik reformasi struktural yang harus kita lakukan. Sebab tu tuan-tuan, tadi kita sebut Teoh Beng Hock, Ahmad Syarbani, dua-dua ni kes berlaku dalam SPRM. Sepatutnya kerajaan membuka mata, perlu untuk adanya reformasi SPRM. Saya sebut berulang kali, sistem struktur SPRM hari ini gagal. Kita berada dalam krisis 1MDB, yang mana sehingga hari ini sistem yang gagal apabila kita dihimpit dengan 1MDB masih lagi digunakan sehingga hari ini. Tidak ada reformasi dalam konteks SPRM. Sebab itulah dalam tuntutan kita, bila mana bersih menyebut tentang reformasi SPRM, yang pertama kita nakkan kebebasan. Kebebasan SPRM tanpa cengkaman eksekutif. Tapi dalam masa sama, bukan hanya kebebasan, tapi accountability. Kita tak boleh bagi kebebasan mutlak tanpa accountability. Tanpa accountability lah menyebabkan kes-kes ini. Kes seperti Teoh Beng Hock ini, akhirnya NFA. Tak ada siapa yang boleh check and balance SPRM. Berlaku je salah guna kuasa di peringkat SPRM tanpa reformasi yang dilakukan. Sebab itulah tuan-tuan, hari ini rakyat menuntut reformasi SPRM, rakyat menuntut keadilan untuk Teoh Beng Hock, dan kita menuntut supaya kita mempunyai hak untuk hidup dengan selamat dan sejahtera. Hidup, hidup. Hidup rakyat. Tuntut keadilan. Reformasi SPRM. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih saudara Faisal. Ya, memang betul. Mahkamah Rayuan sudah buat keputusan bahawa kematian Teoh adalah disebabkan oleh satu atau lebih orang yang tidak dikenali, termasuk pegawai SPRM. Dan juga ada kecederaan yang terjumpa di lehernya sebelum kejatuhannya. Ini sangat jelas. Tetapi malangnya siasatan polis masih menuju ke arah membunuh Lidi, tetapi bukan dibunuh. Okey, so untuk yang speaker kedua, saya invite Encik Ngang Teng Yi, pengurusi untuk KL and Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall, untuk memberi ucapan. 现在有请龙雪华堂会长严登义先生来给予这个资源的发言。
Fellow civil society representatives, friends, and most importantly, the family of the late Teoh Beng Hock. I stand here today with a heavy heart. It has been over 15 years since Teoh Beng Hock was found dead while under the custody of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. And yet, to this day, we are still here, we are still asking, still waiting, and still demanding for the truth to be told and for justice to be served. Teoh Beng Hock was not a criminal. He was a young man who believed in public service, who carried out his responsibilities with dedication and integrity. He was a son, a brother, a fiancé, and he was about to be a father. His life was full of promise. But the promise was stolen, not by fate, but by a system that failed him. A system that has failed far too many. Let us be clear, today's Teoh's death was not an isolated incident. Every year, hundreds of lives are lost in detention across Malaysia. Behind these statistics are real people, real families, real heartbreaks. These deaths, whether caused by negligence, abuse, or institutional violence, demand not only our attention, but our action. How many more must die before we say, enough is enough? The recent decision by the Attorney General's chambers to classify Teoh's case as no further action is deeply troubling. After so many years, after a Royal Commission of Inquiry, after a Court of Appeal ruling pointing to unlawful acts, how can it be that no one is held accountable? What does this say to the family, to our citizens, and to the soul of our justice system? When institutions tasked with upholding the law become complicit in silencing the truth, when lives are lost without consequence, we must ask ourselves, what kind of nation are we becoming? This is not just about Teoh Beng Hock. This is about the values we uphold as a society. This is about the sanctity of life, the rule of law, and the basic dignity every human being deserves. We at the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall stand here not just in remembrance, but in defiance of silence. We believe that civil societies must not look away. We must not let this issue fade into history just as another statistic or tragic footnote. We must continue to speak, to organize, and to demand for the truth to be revealed, no matter how long it takes. We urge the government to establish an independent and transparent mechanism to investigate the deaths of in custody. We call for a complete overhaul of institutional culture in enforcement agencies, one that prioritizes human rights, accountabilities, and zero tolerance for abuse of power. We also recognize the courage and perseverance of Beng Hock's family, especially her sister, Teoh Lilan, whose tireless effort have kept the flame of justice burning. Your pain has become a symbol of our national conscience, and we are with you now and always. Ladies and gentlemen, Teoh Beng Hock did not die in vain, not if we make sure of it. His memory must be more than a tragedy. It must be a catalyst for change. Let us not allow comfort, fear, or time to dull our sense of outrage and empathy. We owe it to him. We owe it to every life lost behind locked doors and silent corridors. Let us work together with dignity, with purpose, and with courage until the truth is known and justice is done. Thank you.
Terima kasih Presiden Ngaim yang ucapan solidariti beliau yang beliau menyentuh kepentingan semua gerakan sosial untuk organize ourselves to fight against the human rights violation. Dan oleh itu yang seterusnya, yang speaker yang ketiga ialah saudara Gerard Joseph, former Suhakam Commissioner and also the Commerce Director.
Good evening, everyone. To the family of Teoh Beng Hock, to Yapwa and the campaigners who have been fighting for this. Your strength is really admirable. After so many years, the first question that comes to my mind is, we are in the period of reform, and I think that's where this is most painful. The independent institutions are not here yet. I think Faisal, you spoke about MACC, but there's a lot of institutions almost there but not there. So I think that's not good enough. When I was a commissioner, I visited the MACC as part of our work to check on detentions centers. Sadly, while we have no justice for Teoh Beng Hock, the tragedy of Teoh Beng Hock actually sparked an internal revolution on how investigation is done. They showed me in detail how they put two laptops with two faces with mirrors everywhere and every trigger point. I was so impressed because I have not seen this in police stations also. So I like, wow. So you know what you did wrong. That's what I got from there. But Teoh Beng Hock's tragedy has sparked for them realizing that should never happen. But we are here for justice for what did happen but not yet resolved. So I really hope MACC, as part of its own internal need to clear its name, must be leading this charge for finding an antidote to NFA. And I know it's very painful when the officers involved had promotions, right? Yes, and that's painful. You should never do something like that when you cannot clear your case, especially after the courts. The other institutions that probably also need independent institution that needs strengthening, I think, also is Suhakam. There was a recent amendment to the law. I thought it was not enough. We need a mandatory response from government institutions when Suhakam's Act gives the Commission the powers to recommend action. But you recommend, they say thank you, sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. So actually in the original amendment we wanted what is called actionable response to a recommendation, which means they have a right to say why we cannot. That's fair, I think that's fair. But not silence. And I think that is not in the amendment, which I was really not happy with. Also, I think we still find that vague language in Suhakam Act where visit to detention is not automatic. And other commissions around the world, actually, you just go to the door, show your commission card, and you get access. Here, you have to give some prior information. All that is really nonsense. We should have taken that out in this amendment. And it's not very easy to make amendments. So while there was some incremental changes, but I think substantially you need independent institutions to go in and to call them out or stop, or at least know that they were always wondering who's at the door. Now there is none. They will get the notice. The third institution that we failed, I think, is IPCMC. I thought the work of the PH government, the draft bill was so much better, but then now we got to water down. And I don't know what is the new IPCC done. With all these NFAs, they should be auto-triggered to check why NFAs. I actually want to ask a question. How many NFAs do we have in the country? Do we have an analysis of that? And actually I call upon the Parliament Special Select Committee, YB William, which is really a good worker on a lot of issues, to actually call data, not just a number, but the breakdown on the reasons of why NFA. I don't believe our police is lazy or don't want to do. They have, because sometimes they can find a kidnapped victim very fast. Sometimes it takes forever. And we know the disappearance of Pastor Koh and many others still question mark. So I think we need a breakdown. We have a right to information. We don't have a freedom of information bill yet. Hopefully it's coming up. But I think the Parliament needs to know what is the grounding for NFA. And the Attorney General Chambers also needs to answer. We cannot be citizens who just terima lah NFA, okay, thank you, NFA, you done your work. The more NFAs is the more question, is our police not up to mark? I think we have enough police resources, we have new technology, and if there is blocks, tell the reason what is blocked. If you cannot tell here, tell a competent authority, maybe Suhakam, maybe the courts. But we cannot be allowed to be happy with an NFA. At least the family should know the reasons for NFA. You all are a party to this cause, the family members or even your campaign, the Teoh Beng Hock campaign. So I think these are some questions that still linger in my mind, and I really think in this open society that we all claim to be, where ChatGPT will give you all the answers, NFA cannot be an answer. And that's strange for me. You can tell me you're not able to progress because of 1, 2, 3. That is acceptable. Sometimes you just cannot get because it's blocked by here, or that whole evidence was kept in a room. That room is now burned down. Something we need to know. What happened to where all these things go? Or you cannot make connection because it's 3 persons not saying the name. We need to know. If you cannot tell us, reopen it in court and tell the court. Let the judge ask, and the lawyers will do their work on this. We've also been a proud member of the UN Human Rights Council. We just finished our term, 3-year term, which is a proud thing for any country to be elected. So you show a sense of commitment globally to human rights. And on this part, on the disappearance of Pastor Koh and Amri Chepmat and Joshua and the wife, many questions are left unanswered. So I think the special rapporteur reminds us, and the UN reminds us, that states, governments have a duty to respect and protect the fundamental rights to life of those deprived of liberty. So which means, if you take somebody into custody, you are depriving them of liberty, then your responsibility doubles or triples. We didn't ask to be detained. If we ask, different. If I volunteer to be detained, I'm creating trouble. But when you take me in, your burden of responsibility increases. So it is absolutely right for us to get angry, to scold the authorities, to demand answers. It's not being unreasonable. And I know the family and some you all went to Parliament to meet Anwar or present. It is justified because we handed over, well, we didn't hand, you grabbed Teoh Beng Hock, you took him under your custody, you decided what was needed to be done. So you have increased your burden and responsibility, and now, of course, liability. And you cannot wash your hands and say, sorry, I cannot find the answers. Who's going to find the answers? You want us to find the answers? Why should the family and Yap Hua go around begging for answers? We are not the competent authority. We are not the government. You elected yourself to be government, and you have to take on this burden. And really, it's not a free right to be government. I mean, it's a nice thing to be government with so much of powers, nice car, nice house. But the flip side is we want answers on these things. If not, if you want us to do, then give us the law to do it. But we are not the competent authority. I don't think the family should be chasing after bits and pieces. It's really not the way a competent government and its institution should function, especially now in the reform framework of government. So I think if people are really going to express a lot of unhappiness and anger, I ask the police, I ask all the independent institutions, use this as your reflection point and call the family and call the campaigners to have a serious discussion how to reopen the NFA to an actionable item that the government must take on board. So really, I see a lot of great friends here, and I know all of us are going to demand why we have to wait so long. And I think Prime Minister promised that, did he promise, PM, when he met you all, that some action will be taken? So let the police investigate. So now the police have investigated and stopped nothing further means they have not completed their duty, you know. So I think this is something all activists must decide. Who decides when an NFA? Is it the AGC? If AGC decides, AGC must be answerable to someone. It cannot be, I didn't do, they decide. AGC said, police never gave me enough, so I have to decide, no choice. So between these two, how many cases are NFA'd in the court? And these are cases that we need justice. I really think it's time for Malaysians to not allow NFAs to be the rule, but rather the exception. And I think those who dare use NFA must also dare come up and explain to us why you're unable to move further on to this action. Failure to do that meaning failure for you to be a civil servant, failure to execute your duties mandated by law, and that means if you have failed, you either step down or you must be up against a competent authority to ask why after 15, 16 years we are still in this chaos Chinese Assembly Hall talking the same things. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Saudara Gerard. Dia highlight kepentingan itu tanggungjawab SPIN terhadap tanggungjawab untuk menjaga keselamatan orang kena tahan, dan juga NFA ialah tidak boleh diterima. Sebenarnya sebelum polis memulakan siasatan semula, Lilan telah mengemukakan 10 soalan yang mesti dijawab oleh pihak polis. Tapi malangnya pihak polis tidak jawab mana-mana soalan yang dikeluarkan oleh keluarga Teoh. Polis cuma guna drone untuk buat siasatan terhadap bangunan plaza Masalam saja. Dia tidak betul-betul menyiasat pegawai SPIN. Okey, yang seterusnya saya ingin menjemput saudari Wilasani, Amnesty International Malaysia. Sorry, Siti. I'm sorry, I'm getting old. Saudari Siti Kasim, human rights lawyer.
I'm a stickler to, that the rules. I saw my name there, so I came out early in preparation. Thank you very much. Saya ingin mengucapkan salam takziah kepada keluarga Teoh. Terima kasih kerana menjemput saya. The problem when you become like speaker number 3 or 4, all the things you want to say being said before already by the previous speakers. So I have to, reinvent now what I want to say. But I want to explain briefly to those who are not aware the sequence of what happened. In 2011, the Royal Commission of Inquiry ruled he was driven to suicide due to aggressive interrogation, but a Court of Appeal decision in 2014 ruled his death was caused or accelerated by unlawful acts, including those of MACC officers. Then the Kuala Lumpur High Court ordered the police to complete the investigation into Teoh Beng Hock's death within 6 months after Appeals Court Judge Wan Ahmad Farid allowed a judicial review application by his parents. Before the case was reopened, 2 special investigation teams were formed in 2011 and again in 2015. However, both probes were similarly classified as NFA. As Saudara Faisal had said just now, you see, with the findings of the Court of Appeal, surely the police are not stupid enough to go and investigate for wrongful confinement. It should be for either murder under 302 or 304. 304 is manslaughter, meaning there is no intention to kill, but you led to the death of the person. Yeah, so that is the issue that I see a problem. Are the police stupid, or is purposely investigating, under the section which is unrelated, because this person died, so it has to be investigated under death, either murder or manslaughter. So that's number one. And I'm a hardcore watcher of crime YouTube, Beyond Evil, Law and Crime, and every time I see the investigation being done by the police, or they have video. This is done like years ago. Surely, our investigation bodies should have this available when they are investigating people who are under investigation. So, why is this not implemented? Even now, I don't believe it's implemented yet, where people are being videoed by the police, so that the police then will be doing the investigation, the interrogation properly, because they know they are under videoed. That's another thing that I keep wondering, why is this government, especially this government, they claim to want to do reformasi lah and all that, but where is the reforms that we are, look at Pamela Ling. Pamela Ling, again, it is connected to MACC. What is wrong with this MACC? We really need to ask question, serious question. the interview by Pamela Ling with MACC can only be known by her lawyers, by MACC. No one else, because this is not the first time she's gone there, it's the 9th time. So, this is the question that our government must answer. And I always say, this is why we must demand for the separation of powers. Meaning, all these bodies, enforcement bodies, must actually not under the purview of the parliament, not purview of the executive. It has to be under the parliament, not under the purview of the Prime Minister. The judiciary, enforcement agencies, executive and parliament must be separated. But no, where is the reform that they want to do? These are the things they keep telling us that they will do reform. And I am so proud of the family of Teoh Beng Hock for keeping this alive. If they don't keep it alive together with the people who, the NGO that actually helped them, this will just die. It's a natural death. And, a lot of people have no idea what has happened before. So, we must get together and we must actually, get our government to really reform the system, because I seriously see there's a lot of problems in our system. The police, the enforcement agencies, not to mention just MACC, many others. Where is the reform? This is what we must ask, because ultimately to me, it is actually up to the politicians to take more further action. I bet you if Teoh Beng Hock is anak somebody, anak Tan Sri, anak Tun, I bet you sudah solve lah this problem. Just because Teoh Beng Hock, is just an ordinary person like us, so they don't care. They don't care because they think we don't care, but we care. So we must take action. Okay? Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Saudari Siti Kasim, memang seorang pejuang, true fighter. So whenever we call her, she will stay together with us, whether it's in front of Parliament or to desk. So the next, I would like to invite the Saudara M. Wiswanathan, the EDIC chairperson, and also important partner of our organization. Wiswa, please come.
Salam sejahtera kepada semua, and my best regards to the family of the late Mr. Teoh. Now, the Teoh family's case resonates a long way with me because it was also the first case that I was involved in personally, custodial death. 16th of July 2009 marked a very a momentous event in the nation's history. There were two cases. One, the death of Teoh Beng Hock, his body was found. And another case by the name of R. Gunasegran in the Balai Police, Sentul. Somehow, I was involved in both cases, and in one way or another, that case, Gunasegran, became instrumental in the Court of Appeal's decision in Teoh Beng Hock. It's weird how life works. Now, since then, I've had, I wouldn't say the pleasure, but rather the experience of having been involved in many custodial deaths after that. Now, let me take you back to the 15th of July, why we are here. 15th of July, a young man, Teoh Beng Hock, was called to the SPRM office, Plaza Masalam, at 6 p.m. Just before going there, he spoke to this lawyer called Manoharan Malayalam. And Manoharan said what? Mano said at the inquiry in the court's proceedings that when he met him, there were no injuries. He was healthy, he was talking about his wedding, his registration, and things like that. Now, what is certain from the facts of the case was on that 3 doctors, I repeat, 3 doctors nonetheless, Dr. Pontip, Dr. Shahidan Matno, and Dr. Peter Venezis confirmed that there were injuries, blunt force trauma on the neck of the poor deceased, Mr. Teoh. And they confirmed in court that these injuries happened prior to his fall. Prior. Which means he had been injured first before he was found dead outside the building. Now the police, in their infinite wisdom, say they have investigated this case vigorously to the best of their abilities under section 352 for wrong 342. I have a problem with this section, so even my mind can't register this. For wrongful confinement, I would like to ask the Police Diraja Malaysia, since when, if there is testimony, confirmed evidence that there is pre-fall injuries, and then you go and investigate not for the pre-fall injuries, but you go and investigate for wrongful confinement. It's absurd, to say the least. Now, since 2009, we had Tan Sri Gani Patel, Tan Sri Apandi Ali, Tan Sri Tommy Thomas, Tan Sri Idrus Harun, Tan Sri Teriuddin Muhammad Saleh, and our present Tan Sri Muhammad Dusuki as the AG. Since 2009. Since 2009, we had Datuk Sri Najib, Tun Dr. Mahathir, Tan Sri Mohidin, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, and now the present Madani, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. And all the IGPs in between. Yet, this mystery as to how Teoh died remains to haunt this nation. So much so that 16 years later, we are all standing or sitting, hearing me speak about this young man who died unnecessarily at Plaza Masalam. I'm angry. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm upset. I'm disappointed that this nation has let down justice not only to the Teoh family, but to all of us. Now, my challenge. Siti, my fellow Melaka mate, she comes from Melaka as well, said, what can we do? I propose, this is my challenge to the present AG, to the present Prime Minister, and to the present Home Minister. Make me the ad hoc prosecutor. You have the powers under section 376 and 379 of the Criminal Procedure Code to appoint me as the deputy public prosecutor to help in this inquiry to solve this mystery within 21 days of this case. Today. I assure you, as what the Court of Appeal said, and I quote to you, this is what Justice Hamid Sultan said. On the facts, the assistance of Sherlock Holmes is not necessary to say who is criminally concerned in this case. You don't need Sherlock Holmes. You mean to say you had so many IGPs, so many Home Ministers, so many Prime Ministers, and so many AGs, you cannot solve this mystery? So once again, give me the powers under section 376 and 379 of the Criminal Procedure Code, and I will solve this mystery once and for all within 21 days from the date hereof. Thank you.
Terima kasih tawaran saudara Wiswa. Satu cadangan yang sangat bagus. Untuk maklumat semua, Semasa Mahkamah Tinggi membuat satu keputusan terhadap kes yang difile oleh keluarga Teoh, Hakim mengatakan bahawa dari 2018 hingga 2024 dalam masa 6 tahun Polisi submit menyerahkan itu keputusan siasatan kepada AG 8 kali. 8 kali ditolak. Kenapa siasatan polis boleh ditolak sebanyak 8 kali? So this raises a very important question. So whether this is a really independent and professional investigation. So we really need the independent investigation and also the independent prosecutor to handle Teoh's case. So the next one, I would like to invite Professor Wong Ching Fat, the project summer member, to give his solidarity speech. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I
Why is jumping queue? I thought that I would be unlike City. City was put later. I thought that I was called a bit earlier. Okay. So 赵爸爸、赵妈妈、丽兰，在家里的苏淑慧女士、赵尔佳小弟弟，还有其他家人。Rakan-rakan seperjuangan dalam Persatuan TBH dan juga rakan-rakan masyarakat sivil yang lain. Selamat petang. Ini tahun ke-16 kita mengingati pembunuhan saudara Teoh Beng Hock. Kes Teoh Beng Hock ada 3 makna yang penting. Yang dahulunya 2. Yang pertama adalah tahanan dalam kematian dalam tahanan, custodial death. Saya adalah antara yang paling awal terlibat bersama Yakwa dan lain mengingati pemergian mendiang Teoh Beng Hock. Dan masa itu kami ingat satu angka. Ramai di antara audiens kami pada masa yang paling awal, 1805. Itu adalah bilangan orang yang mati dalam tahanan sebelum Beng Hock bermula tahun 2003. Maksudnya 1805 orang mati dalam masa 7 tahun sebelum Beng Hock. Setiap 3 hari 2 orang mati. Dan kebanyakan orang yang mati, kami tak tahu apa nama mereka, siapa nama mereka. Mereka mati tanpa nama kerana kebanyakan mereka mungkin orang asing. Orang mereka yang gugur dalam lockup, ada yang dalam lockup seperti Beng Hock, ataupun dalam tahanan saja, bilik tahanan saja, ada dalam penjara, ada dalam kem tahanan. Kerana kesedaran yang dibawa oleh perjuangan ini, orang yang mati dalam tahanan berkurangan. Kita tak nampak angka begitu besar. Tetapi malangnya, Beng Hock bukan orang yang terakhir. Masih ada yang berlaku. Cuma bilangannya menjadi jarang sedikit. Makna yang kedua dalam kes Teoh Beng Hock adalah penganiayaan politik. Political persecution. Sampai berlaku enforced disappearance. Kehilangan yang disebabkan oleh kuasa ataupun agensi kerajaan. Political persecution tidak berlaku sangat kerap, tetapi dia tidak berkurangan. Kalau kita kira saja case enforced disappearance, kita ada Pastor Ko, kita ada Amri Cik Mat, kita ada Joshua, kita ada Ruth, dan yang paling kebelakangan ini Pamela Ling. Ini dua adalah makna asal ingatan daripada pembunuhan atau keguguran Beng Hock. Apa yang ketiga? Yang ketiga adalah tadi yang dikatakan oleh Gerard, oleh Faizal, adalah tentang NFA. No further action. Kawat. Ini dua isu. Apa yang berlaku dahulu di bawah pemerintahan BN, itu tahanan, kematian dalam tahanan, itu penganiayaan politik. Apa yang berlaku hari ini adalah kawat. Kalau tak dapat jumpa bukti untuk mendakwa untuk pembunuhan berniat, murder, bagaimana dengan pembunuhan tanpa berniat? Homicide ataupun manslaughtering. Ataupun kecuaian menyebabkan kematian. Negligence causing death. Apa yang berlaku apabila tak ada seorang pun dipertanggungjawabkan? Maka seluruh negara dipertanggungjawabkan. Apabila tiada NFA itu adalah keputusan kepada polis, ini bukan menyelamatkan nama MACC, tetapi menjadikan MACC itu menanggung malu dan salah selama-lamanya. Kerana kebanyakan orang dalam MACC bukan pembunuh, bukan penyeksa. Mereka orang yang mulia seperti kita, kebanyakan orang kita. Tetapi selagi mereka yang bertanggungjawab itu tidak dipertanggungjawabkan, maka seluruh warga MACC tidak dapat membersihkan nama mereka. Itu pilihan MACC. Anda bukan melindungi rakan anda mencemari nama anda sendiri. Dan perkara yang sama dengan polis. Apabila polis mengambil tindakan keputusan NFA kepada kes-kes ini, mereka bukan melakukan kebaikan, melindungi diri, tetapi mereka mencemar nama sendiri. Mereka mencemar, menghancurkan kredibiliti polis. Dan yang dicemarkan nama itu tidak terhad kepada MACC, kepada polis, kepada Jabatan Peguam Negara, AGC. Yang paling akhir yang dicemari namanya adalah Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. The buck stop right at the top. Kalau tak ada seorang dipertanggungjawabkan, andalah dipertanggungjawabkan. Bukankah kita diberitahu bahawa kuasa itu adalah amanah? Dan kalau kita tak gunakan amanah itu dengan betul di dunia ini, hadapilah pengadilan hari nanti. Pasti ada orang yang kata, kalau kerajaan mengambil tindakan, maka ia akan dituduh bahawa ini adalah serangan kepada orang Melayu, kepada Islam. Bagi saya, sesiapa yang kata itu, mereka yang menghina orang Melayu dan menghina Islam. Kerana orang Melayu seperti semua manusia yang lain, tidak memihak kepada kezaliman. Islam seperti agama yang lain, memihak kepada keadilan dan bukan kezaliman. Dan kita perlu ingat, yang dicemari dengan nama, yang dicemari oleh kes, NFA kes ini, termasuk perkataan Madani. Madani itu bermakna bandar. Berasal daripada sejarah Islam. Pemerintahan Rasulullah di Madinah untuk 10 tahun yang pertama. Adakah ini teladan daripada Madinah? Saya harap cedik kawan yang banyak membincangkan Madani ingat nama Teoh Beng Hock. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Profesor Ching Fat. Okay, I'm very sorry untuk yang selalu skip queue. Ini pun tunjuk saya sudah tua sangat. I have been following up for this with this campaign for 15 years. So it's also time to find the successor. I have written now, so no mistake again. So saya ingin menjemput Saudari Wee Wilasini, Interim Executive Director from Amnesty International Malaysia, to give the solidarity speech.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the presence of the members of the press, friends from civil society, the family members and friends of the late Teoh Beng Hock, and other distinguished guests. Your presence here today is a powerful reminder that we are united by a shared commitment to justice, truth, and human dignity. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the organizers for today's event, for giving me the opportunity to speak. It is both an honor and a deep responsibility to be standing here with all of you as we gather to honor the memory of Teoh Beng Hock, and most importantly, to continue to call for accountability and justice in this case. We stand here today, as we always have, in solidarity with Teoh Beng Hock's family and the countless others who have been victims of injustice, to demand that this government show us that it is committed to the rule of law, not just in words but in actions. Teoh Beng Hock's death while in custody of the MACC remains one of the most painful and unresolved tragedies in our nation's recent history. It is now a case that has become a symbol of the dysfunction within our criminal justice system. His family has endured years of unimaginable heartache and frustration, seeking answers to questions that remain unanswered. To date, as we have echoed here today, no one has been held accountable for his death. Calls for accountability and justice in this case, through peaceful protests even, have been stifled, as was seen in July of last year, when police used excessive force to intercept peaceful protesters from the Teoh Beng Hock Association during their march for justice for victims of custodial deaths. The recent announcement by the police that the investigation is closed with no further action is yet another painful reminder of the systemic failure to deliver justice. This case has become a symbol of the culture of impunity that exists within agencies that are meant to protect and serve the public. As we stand here in solidarity with Teoh Beng Hock's family, we must also recognize the alarming rise in police misconduct over the years. This isn't just a matter of isolated incidents, it is a systemic issue that undermines the public's trust in law enforcement. Reports of abuses of power, misconduct, and the lack of accountability are becoming increasingly common. We can no longer ignore the urgent need for systemic reform within our police force. So this event today is not just a space for solidarity, it is a call to action. It is a call to demand that the truth come to light and that justice be served for Teoh Beng Hock and for everything his case stands for. It is a call for justice for all Malaysians who have suffered under the weight of a broken justice system. We therefore call for transparent, independent, impartial investigations into Teoh Beng Hock's case and any instance of police misconduct in accordance with international human rights. Let us come together in remembrance of Teoh Beng Hock, but in resolute action for our authorities to do what they're meant to do, protect and serve all members of the public. We must demand for a Malaysia where there is justice for all and the rule of law, human rights, and principles of transparency and accountability are respected by those in power. Thank you.
Terima kasih Saudari Wilasini. Speaker yang seterusnya Saudari Lozana Isha, Sister in Islam, Executive Director.
Apa khabar semua? It's a very painful occasion to be here. Kepada keluarga mendiang Teoh Beng Hock, I cannot imagine what you have been going through, waiting for an answer to know what happened to him after almost 16 years. This is the harsh reality of having institutions that don't hold themselves accountable and other institutions that don't hold other institutions accountable as well. And worse still, in the case of Teoh Beng Hock, accountability to a life that was dedicated to service for the betterment of people in the community. The thing that we mustn't forget as fellow Malaysians is that when institutions are not made accountable or answerable to the death of a person that was under their watch and custody, then what happened to Teoh Beng Hock can also happen to any one of us. And that is a very frightening thought. That is not the Malaysia that I imagine us to live in. It means that none of us are actually safe. That is certainly not Madani. And what is puzzling is that why is there this overall silence and brick wall resistance towards finding an answer to what happened to Teoh Beng Hock? All our friends have spoken about what had happened to him over the many years. To me, the fact that the Court of Appeal in 2014, 3 judges unanimously decided that the police should reopen the investigations. 4 years later after that, the cabinet in the Pakatan Harapan government, and I think there was a lot of hope put into the Pakatan Harapan government, decided the same as well. And yet, there are still no answers forthcoming as to what happened to him from before he was found on 16 July 2009. And of course, as all our friends had mentioned before, what is worrying is that this is not the only case, nor the only institution within our country that is cause for concern. After 16 years, the mechanisms for accountability in the democracy that we have here in Malaysia are still insufficient to account for the life of one person who had gone to MACC in good faith on 15 July 2009. I echo the calls and the demands that have been made by the speakers before. And what I also want to urge us to do is that we do need to keep talking about this, because young people, younger generations, are only coming to know about this perhaps even now. I think I saw a few days ago, there were cases of students speaking, what happened to Teoh Beng Hock, it happened to them, it happened when they were a child. And they watched this, on the news, or they talked about it in school. And what is inspiring is that Teoh Beng Hock's case had led them to careers that they want to be able to fight the good fight, for justice, for dignity, for life. I also want to say thank you to the young people that also organized, calling for accountability of how Azam Baki was reappointed. And they had also called, for accountability for the death of Teoh Beng Hock. We need answers. This cannot go on, and we must not allow us celebrating Merdeka without getting to know what happened to Teoh Beng Hock on 16 July 2009. Thank you.
Terima kasih Saudari Lozana. The next speaker Saudara A. Jayanat, wakil dari Saya Anak Bangsa Malaysia.
Saudara-saudari yang dihormati sekalian, Lilan, the family, thank you very much for inviting me. It looks like a long nightmare that's not over. I remember being here in 2009 when we started this. My memories are different because I guess we have been on this road for a long time. On 20th of July 2009, many of us organized ourselves to go and pay our last respects to Beng Hock in Alor Gajah. I've lost two of my comrades there, Haris Ibrahim and Bernard Koo, and a whole lot of us went there. And what we saw there was actually people leading the procession, the who is who of opposition politics in Malaysia on that day. Literally, the who is who. I don't see anyone here today. They all gone missing. All right? And this is the story for all of us to understand that politicians will make use of any issue. So I'm only making a very short speech. One call to these politicians who were there on 20th July 2009. Can you please tomorrow morning look at yourself in the mirror and feel what you are going to do about this, or you're going to just continue to remain ignorant? It is just unconscionable. It cannot be accepted by us that you will do this to the Teoh family and all those who believe that you are going to reform the institutions and bring justice. We have not seen it, and we are giving you one last chance to do this. Go and find out what this NFA is and dismantle it. All right? And for all those of you here and the young people who have found out about this, I ask you to do one thing. Write to your MP, write to your Adun tomorrow, and I'm sure Yapwa will help us to draft something, a simple message. Bring this up with your, whoever your people are, bring it up in Parliament, bring it up in the state assemblies, and say, what is this NFA about? I don't think we as a people can just say, oh, NFA, and just keep quiet about it, okay? So we have to do something. And again, I really salute Leland and the family for keeping this alive. They have given us a lot of inspiration. A lot of people have been inspired by Leland. I still remember Harris asking you, Leland, when we were going around, yeah? Remember the first years we were going all over the place doing this with Harris. And I remember him asking you this, Leland, if it was not your brother, would you have done anything? And you were honest, you said no. But later Harris told me, look at Leland. She has taken up this fight. She has shown everybody Malaysians can do something about it and not just keep quiet. So I salute you, and I salute Yap Hua and his dedicated this thing for doing this. The setting up of this, many of you may not know, this was the first time the brochure came out, the Teoh Beng Hock Trust for Democracy. One person we have to remember who cannot be with us is Pak Samad. He chaired the first meeting, and I think all of you should remember him, yeah, for what he has helped us to do this course. So finally, I tell you, all the people here, we multiply them by hundreds and thousands. We won't let you down. You keep fighting, and we will keep fighting with you. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Jaya. Jadi tindakan anda adalah sangat penting untuk keep the movement alive. So the next speaker, Dr. Lim Chi Han, co-founder from the Agora Society.
Good evening. Thank you to the organizers, Teoh Beng Hock Association for Democratic Advancement and Civil Rights Committee, and of course to the late Teoh Beng Hock families, Teoh Lilan, and other family members. I echo to Saudara Janat. We salute you in this long fight. 16 years is very long, and they show to the nation that you have the courage to find the truth. Even how many changes of government, what disappointment you have experienced, you never let down. As long as you keep fighting spirit on, we will do the same, because this is not the case, the significance of this case is not only for your family, it's for the whole nation. We want justice, justice for all. I'm one of the former, the late Teoh Beng Hock former colleagues and friends while we're working in the Selangor state government. I'm not speaking here in my personal capacity, but as a representative of Agora Society, we also advance on democracy and human rights. We defend human rights. I have something to say to the whole nation. And actually, I'm very touched by so many people still want to come to remembrance event like today and have not forgotten the late Teoh Beng Hock. And we still want to insist to see the justice done. So we, civil society, have to take action. And we will take action. So what action? It's democracy. Democratic action. So we need, please, government, listen to the voices, democratic voices, action displayed in this room. We are saying no to the government's no further action. It's as good as no action. Nah. It's totally unacceptable. They are so wrong. Because we know that the late the Teoh Beng Hock case is a symbol of state violence and injustice against an aspiring opposition politician at the time. We were promised with the slogan keadilan untuk semua. So semua have to termasuklah Teoh Beng Hock. And Teoh Beng Hock was shockingly sacrificed because of the political cause. It's a fact, yeah? He was someone so dear to his family and his comrade, his party. But now it's very sad and irony. The party in the governing position right now, and it's also the largest party bloc. Yet the leadership seems to distance itself from the justice for Teoh Beng Hock. If they cannot deliver justice to their own comrade, Teoh Beng Hock, what is hope for us? For everyone else? Like I say, 16 years is indeed very long in wait. If the age he were a child, at the age, he will be sitting for SPM exams the next year. Well, he will have a good chance to passing the SPM exam, but this government has failed the exam in the subjects of reformasi and justice. They actually have no show when all the civil society, Yap Hua, Teoh Lilan asking about the Teoh Beng Hock case. They have no show, no voice, no response for the past few weeks. So many things have happened in this country in the 16 years. We have witnesses so many political changes, including changes of governments. Yeah, despite all the changes in political landscape, justice for Teoh Beng Hock, not just Teoh Beng Hock, but other victims of the state violence, still yet to be served. Yeah, of course, I think at the time we were not confident in the BN leaders at helm because they might have orchestrated this case and stood to benefit from this episode. But many would thought that once our opposition comrade came to power, they will reveal the truth, go to punish the wrongdoers and deliver justice to the victims. But this remains a promise, but also seemingly drifting away and away from us. But we stand here right now, we must take it back. And this is not just demand for the Teoh Beng Hock case, family. And we all in the civil society also want to see justice done to other political victims as well. And Anwar talking about that, he is our Prime Minister, but it's also the symbol of reformasi. I have to remind everyone, it's supposed to bring the harapan to the people, and more than 2 years have passed. What has he done for the reform and justice for all? He also once signs a petition demanding to support Teoh Beng Hock case and demanding justice. So he also put his signature there to support this case. But conspicuously right now, most of the MPs in the governing bodies also silenced in this case. Yeah, his government also somehow making mockery to the PH supporters, if you will, because BN is in it, the former rival, and caused so much pain to the people and other politicians and activists. And now, time has changed. The DAP leaders probably will feel more comfortable and at ease at the UMNO events than here with us now. Yeah, very disappointed. And surprisingly, after we talk about so much about MACC reform, MACC is still the same. Even the tangkap Azam Baki becomes Kekal Baki. Yeah, there has been so many cases of a DNAA. Perhaps will turn into the AA in the future, especially those involving DN leaders. So there's the fear. There's many fear in us. Many in the society will have that. I want to send reminders to DAP's politicians. They cannot say that because they are not in the position to control the so-called deep state, they just give up and just go with the flow. Hello, there's a thing called collective responsibility for their colleagues also. Takkan you want to take a glory of your government's action, but when something goes wrong, and they want to refuse the blame done by your colleagues' action. You cannot have both, okay? So most importantly, this is actually a moral responsibility. You cannot run away, okay? And since MACC is connected to the Teoh Beng Hock case, the police force must also make more efforts to conduct a thorough and independent investigation. Actually, there's a lot of evidence out there already. We might get someone who have the knowledge and can do the independent prosecution. Yeah, so, but we know that the Attorney General is the current gatekeeper who decide who or whether or not the case can proceed. This is very much all political connected. A politically sensitive case, probably, I don't know. Like the Teoh Beng Hock case, we don't see the light of day without political will. So here's my demand for the reformist government and the Prime Minister. First, Azam Baki must resign to avoid embarrassing his political masters. Because all the major appointments to the public institutions must be approved now by the parliamentary select committees to be legitimate. So we must practice the separation of power. Second, Agra calls for more serious amendments must be done to improve the problematic and truthless IPCC. We don't know what they're good for. To this date, they never show the result or achievement. But we want the IPCMC back. Okay? Third, all deaths in custody and forced disappearance must be investigated and be accountable and answerable in public. No FA or NA can be allowed. Justice must be seen to be done. Any intentional delay is unjustified. And silence is not an option on these matters. And please separate the AGC from the role of public prosecutor now. We have been talking this about for many governments. PH, you wrote this in the political manifesto and other political parties as well. Do it while you are still having this so-called reformist government. You must do the reform. So I will conclude my speech with reiterating these demands, the 4 points. I stand in solidarity with everyone here and with the late Teoh Beng Hock family. So keadilan untuk Beng Hock, keadilan untuk semua. Hidup rakyat dan reformasi.
Terima kasih Jihan. Yang speaker yang seterusnya Saudara Ramanathan, spokesperson of the Citizens Against Enforced Disappearance.
The great difficulty, of course, is when you speak as the 11th speaker, everything's been said. So I, very unusually for me, didn't prepare a speech for tonight. I'm not good at speaking off the cuff, but this is what I'm going to have to do tonight. I want to start by telling you a story. And I'll begin it with something that you've all probably heard before. Except a seed fall down in the ground and die, it will not bear fruit. Except a seed fall down in the ground and die, it will not bear fruit. 16 years ago, I was 50 years old. I was sitting in a church building in Bangsar. It was evening. And 3 people came to speak to us that evening. Yap Hua was one of them. Chin Huat was another. And Chow Ying, who is unfortunately not able to be with us this evening. I hadn't really paid any attention to the Teoh Beng Hock case. I went to the service because someone invited me to go. It was my church. And I heard a presentation about the 1,805 deaths in custody in the period 2003 to 2009. And I heard that only the names of 70 of those who died in custody were known. The others were just numbers. Nobody informed their relatives, their brothers, their sisters, their parents, their friends when they died. They were just numbers. I was sitting there thinking, these guys can't be serious. They must be making this up. Why are we listening to them? But I respected the person who had invited them, and I listened. And then I went up to Chin Huat and I bombarded him with questions. I said, where'd you get your numbers from? And he told me parliamentary answers to questions. I had no idea how Parliament worked. I had no idea what parliamentary questions were. I had no idea that we had to go and beg, and I say we, now I say we. I should say I had no idea that people who cared had to go to Parliament and beg and plead for data about deaths. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. And thus began a journey. So, thank you, Teoh Beng Hock, for sacrificing your life. At least one life has changed because of that. Now, I cannot speak to you. I cannot speak to you about the details of the case. I will just be repeating what people have said. And in any case, I am no expert on the Teoh Beng Hock case. I just know that it is an outrage based on what I have heard this evening. I have been following other cases, many other cases. In fact, I took early retirement so that I could do this more. Today, I was in court. I was in court listening to a case from 10:30 until 4:30. It is the case of the civil suit brought by Susanna Koh in the case of her husband Raymond Koh, who is a victim of enforced disappearance. He's a person who was abducted after a thorough investigation by Suhakam. He's a person who was abducted by the special branch of the Royal Malaysian Police and disappeared. Never been heard of since the 13th of February 2017. And I was sitting there in this courtroom hearing the testimony of the last investigation officer in this case. His name is ASP Marzuki. I'm telling you what I heard in open court. You may know the name Lam Chang Nam. Lam Chang Nam is an Uber driver whom the AGC chose to prosecute, charged him in court for the crime of abduction. Section 365 of the Penal Code. I'll just read it to you. It's very short. It says, whoever kidnaps or abducts any person with intent to cause that person to be secretly and wrongfully confined shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. If you are the Attorney General's chambers and you are going to charge someone for abduction with intention to confine, when you ask, if you're the investigation officer, when you are questioning this person, when you're taking the statement, would you not ask questions about where the person is being confined? Would you not ask questions about others who were involved? There are some very obvious questions that should be asked if you're going to charge someone and there's no other witnesses, okay? There's no witnesses, there's just this. And the answer is no. The person that they charged for abduction, the investigation officer, the one who actually prepared all the documents for the case, said, we never asked the accused all these questions when we got a statement from him. Can you believe that? The earlier investigation officer, there were actually two previous investigation officers. The first investigation officer was for about 24 hours. The second investigation officer for a lot longer. His name is ASP Supari. He, under oath, said at Suhakam and in the High Court just recently, there is no connection between Lam Chang Nam and the abduction of Raymond Koh. Unrelated, he said. Investigation officer. Yet the AGC charges this person, Lam Chang Nam, with abduction. It is true, he attempted extortion and so on, and he was found guilty of that. But there was no reason to charge him other than to derail the Suhakam investigations. That was the only reason to charge him. Charge could not stick, and he was discharged, and in fact he was acquitted. Okay, Lam Chang Nam was acquitted. This is the state of affairs that we have in our country. So I could tell you many more things, but I want to tell you this other thing. I was very sad last year during one of the hearing days. I forget now whether it was in the Amri civil suit or the Raymond civil suit, because both families are suing the government and the police. I was told, I heard in court, that Yusri, the security guard who reported the discovery of Amri's car one evening. I'll tell you the story. It's late in the evening. It's something like 11 p.m. It's raining. These are security guards in a construction site. And they see this vehicle leaving the construction site. And it looks very suspicious. And they wonder what's going on. In the rain, Yusri goes and checks. He follows the route that the four-wheel drive vehicle came from. He goes to see, and there is the car, which is later on identified as Amri's car. Broken glass, broken windscreen glass. What does he do? He immediately goes to the police station. In the rain, he goes to the police station and he makes a report. It is thanks to Yusri's prompt action that we know when Amri was taken. You know why I was so sad a few months ago? Yusri has died. He was just in his 30s. He had diabetes and so on, and he died. Here is a man, a common citizen of Malaysia, who felt that he had a duty towards his fellow citizen. Something terrible has happened. I must make a police report. Something must be done in this case. And what do we have the police doing? The police basically refused to classify this case as an abduction. They treat it as a missing person case. Today we heard a lot about a man called Saiful Bahari. You may have heard about this golden Toyota Vios, PFC 1623. Maybe you want to buy the number this week. PFC 1623, golden Toyota Vios, connected to both of these abduction cases, golden Toyota Vios. So much information could be obtained from this person called Saiful Bahari. Suhakam said so. The special task force appointed by the government said so. The last investigation officer in this case, the one who testified today, said, nah, he's not important. Didn't really bother to look for him. Didn't pursue all the leads that could be pursued. This is the state of affairs with our police. We have a situation where it really is Police Raja di Malaysia, it seems. PRDM. I sometimes think that in my posts, and those of you who know me, you know that I'm obsessed with writing and I write a lot of stuff. I was thinking to myself today, from now on, when I write the acronym for the Royal Malaysian Police, I will no longer say PDRM. I will say PRDM. It will be an intentional mistake because it will be accurate. Because until we hold these people responsible, we are all at risk. Any one of us can be disappeared. I can tell you many more stories of what I've seen in the courts. Time doesn't permit. I just want to say this. Do not give up. Keep going, because you keep the flag flying for the rest of us. You are the example that we look to. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Rama. Speaker yang seterusnya, Saudara Amil Hadi, Executive Director from Mandiri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Keluarga Teoh Beng Hock, Saudari Lilan dan rakan-rakan yang bersama memperjuangkan Teoh Beng Hock, Saudari Yap Hua dan rakan-rakan yang lain. Senior-senior saya dalam aktivisme, saya nampak ramai di hadapan. Ada Jarrell, ada Kak Siti dan yang lain-lain. Apabila saya baca semula cerita, melihat semula video, melihat gambar tentang kematian Teoh Beng Hock, dan tentu saya sebagai manusia juga sedih. Ya. Saya tak pasti bagaimana untuk 16 tahun keluarga Teoh Beng Hock tetap juga kuat untuk terus memperjuangkan keadilan untuk mendiang. Diberikan tepukan yang paling gemuruh. Ketika kita melihat video-video yang lama dulu, kita lihat ada ramai rakan-rakan kita. Saya juga ada di sebahagiannya. Dulu kita menyanyi, Yap Hua ingat. Kalau di program-program untuk Teoh Beng Hock, kadang-kadang saya akan menyanyi. Kalau di jalan raya juga menyanyi. Ramai kawan-kawan kita yang bersama hari ini sudah selesa dengan kuasa. Seperti disebutkan tadi, tak ada seorang pun yang kita lihat bersama bersolidariti dengan kita, khususnya dengan keluarga. Kalau dahulu di jalanan, di dalam dewan, di mana-mana sahaja tempat yang mereka boleh datang berucap, berbicara tentang isu Teoh Beng Hock, mereka akan ada. Apa yang tidak disebutkan oleh mereka? Hari ini orang yang menyebutkan bahawa jangan kita tutup kes ini, siasat dengan mendalam, dah memegang kuasa. Dan saya pasti apa yang lebih menyedihkan dan juga mungkin menimbulkan rasa marah adalah seakan-akan perjuangan ini dikhianati. Apabila teman-teman yang kita percaya dahulu, yang ikut bersorak, yang menggunakan slogan-slogan, yang berada di jalanan, di dalam dewan, kini sudah ada kuasa. Saya tak nampak bukan sahaja mereka melakukan sesuatu untuk NFA yang telah pun berlaku. Saya tak nampak malah mereka bersuara pun. Sukarkah untuk kamu, selesa sangatkah kuasa itu, untuk sekurang-kurangnya kamu buka social media kamu, nyatakan solidariti. Nyatakan betapa kamu tidak boleh masuk dan terima di akal. Kerana kamu tahu, saudara Teoh Beng Hock, seperti disebutkan, dan semua pun dah tahu, ditemui terbunuh pada Julai 2009, pada 2014 Mahkamah Rayuan menyebutkan ada tindakan-tindakan jenayah yang membawa kepada kematian Teoh Beng Hock. Saudara Wisbah sebut ada kesan kecederaan pada lehernya dan sebagainya. Kita tahu ini bukan seperti naratif yang cuba dimainkan oleh mereka dahulu. Kononnya Teoh Beng Hock ini bunuh diri. Kita tahu ini adalah satu pembunuhan. Dan mereka tahu. Bukan mereka tak tahu. Kenapa kita katakan mereka tahu? Kerana mereka juga ada di sini dahulu. Rosak mic. Marah. Tapi betul. Memang sedih saya tengok semula dan saya juga ikut bersimpati, terus bersimpati dengan keluarga dan rakan-rakan. Dan dulu kita laungkan keadilan, bukan parti keadilan. Pada Anwar, kita bukan nak tukar kerajaan kerana kita ini orang yang membontoti ahli-ahli politik. Kita bukan nak pada kuasa GLC. Bukan. Kita memang benar-benar ingin tuntut keadilan. Dan salah satunya keadilan untuk keluarga Teoh Beng Hock. Kerana kalian tahu. Bukan kalian tak tahu. Kalian tahu bahawa ada salah laku. Bagaimana kalian boleh benarkan dalam keadaan ada kuasa? Dan sudah tentu itu yang paling menyakitkan buat keluarga dan kita juga. Saya rasa kawan-kawan lain juga telah sebutkan pelbagai tuntutan-tuntutan yang mesti disegerakan oleh kerajaan hari ini. Kerajaan yang kononnya memperjuangkan reformasi. Kerajaan yang dahulunya berada di jalanan. Saya tonton banyak video saudara Anwar dan lain-lain. Dia sebut dan dia berulang kali sebut. Dia kata saya faham makna penindasan, saya faham makna keadilan kerana saya dahulu dipenjarakan puluhan tahun, kata dia. Sekarang ini kita ingin tanyakan, adakah kuasa itu begitu mengasyikkan? Adakah kuasa itu seperti candu yang membuatkan kita hilang pertimbangan. Tidakkah kalian berasa sedih dengan apa yang berlaku kepada keluarga yang puluhan tahun berjuang bersama? Puluhan tahun dibawa, dibicarakan, tapi akhirnya yang berlaku adalah yang sebaliknya, dan malah kalau berlaku di zaman kerajaan yang dahulu yang tidak sebut tentang reformasi, yang tidak sebut tentang pembaruan, yang tidak sebut tentang keadilan, tak mungkin kita boleh kata iyalah mereka begitu. Tapi kalian patutnya berbeza. Tapi ini sekali lagi mungkin ramai lagi yang akan berbicara. Mereka janji pelbagai janji dan akhirnya bila ada kuasa mereka lupa. Tapi buat keluarga keluarga Teoh Beng Hock, dari Lilan dan yang lain-lain, janji kita rakyat yang biasa ini, seperti yang disebutkan, selagi mana kalian kekal, teguh dan kuat, kita akan kekal bersama dengan kalian. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih ucapan solidariti Amil. Seterusnya saya ingin menyebut Saudari Chong En Chi, pengurusi kepada Student Progressive Front UUM.
Good evening, everyone. As a president of Student Progressive Front, University Utara Malaysia, Kedah, I am here to express solidarity with Teoh Beng Hock's family and to reject the recent decision of NFA. In 2009, Teoh, a young political aide, walked into the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission office for questioning, and he never walked out. His body was found on the base of the buildings, and he was just 30 years old. He was supposed to register his marriage the next morning. His death sparked national outrage. It broke hearts, stilled protests, and ignited a movement. His family, his friends, and civil society has spent over a decade for asking for one thing, the truth. But just recently, after 14 long years, the AGC announced that the case would be marked with NFA. That's it. No names, no charges, no trials. A man died in state custody, and the final answer is we are not doing anything. If this is justice, then what isn't? And this brings us to the true crisis that we are facing. Not just legal, but moral. What is justice after injustice? The answer is not revenge. It's something deeper, larger, and more long-lasting. It's what we call transitional justice. It starts with the truth, not official statement, not silent, but the full story of what happened, told clearly and publicly. Then comes accountability. The courage to name those responsible, no matter how powerful they are, and to face what they did. Reparation means more than money. It means acknowledging the pain, restoring dignity, and giving families the closure they were denied. And finally, reform. Because if the system stays the same, it will happen again. Transitional justice is not a checklist. It's a commitment. A commitment to never allow injustice to be swept under the carpet. A commitment to make sure no family has to beg for answer like how Teoh Beng Hock's family did. A commitment to fix a system so broken that a man could die in custody and no one is held responsible. Transitional justice is not just a matter of law. It's a soul of a society in repair. And if we fail to pursue it, we don't just feel Teoh Beng Hock, we feel ourselves. Be- Because without truth, there can be no trust. And without justice, we cannot move forward. When power goes unquestioned, the deaf lose their names. Lastly, please allow me to use my Mandarin. 我在这里仅代表北大前进阵线，我们拒绝 NFA， 他凭什么 NFA？
Terima kasih Encik. Speaker yang seterusnya, Saudara Lin Chin Jack, pengerusi kepada Universiti Malaya New Youth.
Thank you, Yapwa. A very good evening. I bid to Teoh's family, Lilan, the honorable guests, who are all the respectable seniors of civil movement, dear members of media, dear participants, and my humane comrades. Thanks once again. I bid to Teoh Beng Hock Association of Democratic Advancement and KL SCA Civil Rights Committee for giving me this opportunity to give this speech in this significant session. Firstly, just a few days ago, on 21st of May 2025, Humani has conducted a sharing session with Lilan in University Malaya with the title of Where's Justice? Teoh Beng Hock Incident and Systemic Violence. We conducted this session in order to let the university students having deep insights into the details of the Beng Hock case and highlighted the intricate ties between the incident and systemic violence. Indeed, this has deepened the faith of us to continue fighting and standing with solidarity with Teoh's family. However, what is ironic and deeply disheartening is that just a day before the conduct of the event, on 20th of May, Beng Hock's case, like aforementioned, has been classified as no further action by the AGC with the issuance of letter by the Criminal Investigation Department from the Selangor Contingent Police Headquarters. Even though the Court of Appeal had already ruled on 5 September 2014 that the death was caused by one or more persons unknown, and on 21st November 2024, the High Court had ordered the police to investigate the case within 6 months. Yet, the police and the Attorney Generals are now brushing off the public with the NFA despite clear evidence, which is totally unacceptable. I represent all the university students and all the citizens, urging the government to explain just 2 easy questions. Firstly, why did the police take so long to investigate this case? Teoh's death was dated on 16 July 2009, and it has been 16 years until now. When the case happened, the current university student similar to my age was just a toddler. Yet, when now we are already adults, the justice still hasn't been served to a normal human called Teoh Beng Hock. No matter from the investigation of Royal Commission Inquiry report or even the Court of Appeal judgment in 2014, those have presented the clear facts and the evidence of the case. But the question is, why the national machinery that should serve the people, that should serve the justice, they still have no political will at all to serve the justice? If the police are incapable of conducting such an investigation, just like what demanded by Teoh's family, the government should hire other capable investigators from overseas as promised to Teoh's family. Just do it. Secondly, why were investigators and why were investigations not carried out for homicide or culpable homicide in light of the Court of Appeal judgment for so long? Like aforementioned, the COA in 2014 had concluded that Teoh's death was caused by someone else, and the court is able to point out which officer in MACC is involved in interrogating Teoh. However, the police has still insisted to conduct the investigation under Section 342 of the Penal Code, which is pertaining to unlawful confinement, rather than Section 299 or Section 300. The investigation initially had been in the wrong direction, even though in the period of re-investigation of 6 months ordered by the court, the police still didn't even try a single minute to investigate the case from the perspective of culpable homicide. Apparently, the re-investigation is just a mere drama portrayed by the executive. In fact, the AG and the police do understand the judgment by the Court of Appeal, but they are just deliberately ignoring the court's decision. This NFA decision has once again signaled the alarm towards the current Barani government, towards the Pakatan Harapan, which once upon a time we sincerely believed they could really bring Harapan to this beautiful land, which once upon a time they have convinced us that they would let the perpetrator of Teoh Beng Hock to be punished, which once upon a time they have promised us that they would bring the transitional justice to Malaysia, to achieve no more custody debt, and to prevent abuse of power. Lim Kit Siang once said DAP would not spare MACC. Lim Kuan Eng once said Beng Hock is the first DAP member died under unjust tyranny. Meanwhile, from 2018 to 2020, they have no action at all. That time DAP is having 42 seats plus having many ministerial posts, which means they had a great voice within the system. Yet, no action. During that time, they said their tenure in Putrajaya was too short. And now, 2 years and a half again already. I would like to sincerely just ask, where is the justice you promised that you will serve for Beng Hock? Where is the manifesto that you said you won't spare MACC and you will bring reformation, while Azam Baki still getting appointed by Anwar Ibrahim? What is more disappointing is that almost 2 weeks have been lapsed after NFA. But except Chow Yu Hui and Tan Hong Pin, there's no single assemblyman of DAP has even released a statement, just Baswara, or organized a press conference only to criticize the NFA decision, including the 5 ministers on post. This is not only saddening, but this is monstrous, because that is a life. That is a life getting sacrificed for no reason at all, and the family is getting destroyed just by the arbitrary action. And the party that once again promised to serve justice and bring reformation chose to being silent. I don't know what is the reason behind their silence. Is it for the sake of power, or for the votes, or for the next election? It doesn't matter. What does matter is they have failed as the government. I always believe that you must firstly have a conscience. Then only you deserve to be the government. You should put people first, rather than using them as tool to gain your personal benefit. I always believe that leaders of a nation should exhibit what the good virtues we need to inherit to the next generation, but not to serve the power. In light of this, we the people of this beautiful land will not choose to be silenced. We need to use our collective voice again and again to warn them that the people will not forget Teoh Beng Hock. We will use civil movement, we will use democratic means, whatever we can, showing them justice must be served. This is the purpose of today's forum, and I'm really grateful for the conduct of it. Next, talking as a student, what can we students do? What can we young people do? I believe everyone plays a vital role in this journey, including youth as well. Therefore, we UMANI with other student fronts such as SPF, UM, or GMM have been often involving ourselves in showing solidarity with Beng Hock and his family, and we are willing to act as the amplifier of spreading awareness to the students, reminding the students that not to forget Teoh Beng Hock. For example, like aforementioned, we have conducted a sharing session with Lilan a few days ago, and for your information, the session was originally planned to be conducted at the Faculty of Science in University of Malaya. Nonetheless, it was forcibly relocated due to the university administration's last-minute irresponsible excuse of air conditioning failure just before the day of event, and didn't find any alternative venues at all, forcing us to secure the venue ourselves by our own effort, because we believe that these topics, while seemingly controversial, are indeed significant and deserve discussion, because the young people should not forget, the people should not forget at all. I believe that the student fronts and all the students need to play a significant role in increasing the awareness among youngsters. Thus, UMANI choose not to give up on that day, and we continue to find a venue to conduct the event. The more awareness increase among the youngsters, the more this will remind the government that Teoh Beng Hock is not forgotten, and we will keep on check and balance. This is significant because even though we are young, but we are still remembering Teoh Beng Hock. We are reminding the government not to think that the lapse of time will brush away the memory. Instead, the lapse of time will only make us more disgust the irresponsibility of the government. Once again, I would like to re-emphasize the 4 major demands, although it has been mentioned for so many years, but I think it is necessary to mention it again. Firstly, the government must retract the NFA decision and must reinvestigate from the perspective of culpable homicide. Secondly, the government must disclose the full truth behind Teoh Beng Hock's death. Thirdly, the government must prosecute all MACC officers or others involved in Teoh Beng Hock's death under Section 202, Section 302 or Section 304. Fourthly, the government must immediately implement the Independent Police Complaints and Misconduct Commission (IPCMC) to ensure all officers involved in bullying detainees are independently investigated, preventing collusion and allowing guilty parties to escape easily. As long as the demands are not fully achieved, we will keep on check and balance till the end of the day. This is not only for the justice of Teoh Beng Hock, this is for the justice of Malaysia. Thank you.
Terima kasih Cincik. Speaker yang seterusnya, Saudara Syed Muhammad Sharif, penyeraras kepada Gabungan Mangsa-Mangsa Penyesaan dan Kematian dalam Tahanan. Dia juga wakil daripada keluarga Syed Azlan.
Terima kasih Saudara Yap. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera dan salam madani. Yang dihormati Tuan Pengerusi Majlis, yang diingati selalu keluarga mendiang Teoh Beng Hock dan rakan-rakan seperjuangan sekalian. Saya adalah keluarga Allahyarham Syed Muhammad Azlan yang mati dalam tahanan pada tahun 2014. Kami juga turut berduka di atas keputusan pihak berkuasa di dalam kes Teoh Beng Hock baru-baru ini. Bagi saya, kita tidak boleh melupakan tragedi yang menimpa mendiang Teoh Beng Hock dan Allahyarham Syed Muhammad Azlan. 2 nyawa yang hilang dalam keadaan yang mencetuskan persoalan besar mengenai keadilan dan integriti institusi penguatkuasaan. Mendiang Teoh Beng Hock, seorang pegawai khas kepada Adun Selangor, ditemui mati selepas disoal siasat oleh SPRM pada tahun 2019. Setelah 16 tahun, apakah kesudahannya? Ia sangat mengecewakan. Manakala Allahyarham Syed Muhammad Azlan, seorang pemuda yang mati akibat kecederaan serius semasa di dalam tahanan polis pada tahun 2014. Beliau mati setelah 3 hingga 4 jam ditahan. Terdapat 61 kesan lebam dan luka di badannya. Setelah 11 tahun, apakah kesudahannya? Ia juga sangat mengecewakan. 2 insiden ini mengingatkan kita tentang kepentingan ketelusan, accountability dan reformasi dalam sistem keadilan jenayah. Demi keadilan untuk mereka dan demi masa depan yang lebih adil, kita mesti terus bersuara dan menuntut keadilan. Oleh itu, jangan putus asa, teruskan berusaha, Tuhan pasti bersama kita. Sekian, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Saudara Sharif. Saya sekarang ingin menjemput Saudara Adrian dari Director of the North-South Initiative untuk memberi ucapan solidariti.
Good evening everyone. This is unscripted, so forgive me. My name is Adrian, and I'd like to congratulate the family for the struggle for many years. It has inspired the struggle of North-South Initiative also. And despite struggling in your own case, the foundation has extended solidarity to migrants who have died in custody. And I think some of the activists here have reminded us about the numbers. It's much disproportional, meaning much higher than the number of Malaysians. But we're not here to compare. We are here to build solidarity to make sure we are on the same page. And whatever the authorities have announced is very disappointing. Not having clear justice procedures and principles shows how we have evolved or not evolved as a nation. And at the core of human rights is everyone's dignity, and not ensuring justice is a very indignified thing to do. So with that, we wish everyone a continued struggle, and rest assured we have this solidarity from not just North-South Initiative, but the non-citizen community. Thanks.
Terima kasih Adrian. Jadi speaker yang terakhir untuk hal ini ialah saudari Teoh Lilan, adik kepada as a interpreter.
Selamat sejahtera kepada rakan-rakan yang menghadiri solidarity dengan keluarga kita, sokong keluarga kita untuk menuntut keadilan untuk Beng Hock. Bahasa saya tak begitu bagus, tapi saya berusaha. Okay. Semua orang tahu apa NFA, No Further Action. Alasan yang diberi no further action daripada pihak pegawai negara dan pihak polis adalah kerana bukti-bukti untuk charge orang tidak mencukupi. That's why mereka memberi alasan keputusan NFA. Kita tak akan terima NFA sebagai satu jawapan. Mengapa? Seperti mana yang kita beritahu Datuk Seri Anwar, Perdana Menteri kita, semasa berjumpa dengan pihak beliau pada 1 hari bulan Ogos 2024. Kita memberitahu dia, Datuk Seri, Teoh Beng Hock case dari open wording diputuskan di Mahkamah Inquest sampai ke Mahkamah, kita appeal pergi Mahkamah High Court, Mahkamah Tinggi, dia juga bagi open wording. Lepas tu kita appeal lagi kali terakhir, 3 hakim seterus suara, sebulat suara memberitahu kita bahawa open wording ditolak. Dia memberitahu kita bahawa ini adalah satu pembunuhan. Dia memberitahu kita Beng Hock, kematian Beng Hock adalah disebabkan tindakan-tindakan orang tertentu termasuk pihak MACC. Dia Mahkamah Darian memutuskan bahawa Beng Hock telah tolak Beng Hock mati kerana kemalangan ataupun dia mati bunuh diri. Tetapi kalau semua orang masih ingat 2014, pada tahun 2014 pihak Mahkamah Darian keluar keputusan ini, pihak polis mengadakan siasatan semula. Tetapi mereka tidak buat apa-apa. Mereka hanya berusaha memanggil keluarga kita, memanggil saudara isteri kepada Beng Hock, memanggil saya, memanggil abang saya, Teoh Beng Ki, untuk memberi keterangan semula. Pihak rakan kita, memperjuangan rakan kita pada masa itu, termasuk Pakatan Harapan leader, iaitu pihak DAP, sekarang semua sudah menjadi menteri-menteri. Pihak Amanah leader Anwar Ibrahim, mereka berjanji kepada keluarga kita. Mereka marah sesama keluarga kita dengan pihak tertentu. Kenapa? Mereka bersahabat. Pihak AG Chamber pergi mahkamah minta laluan untuk tolak kes Beng Hock menjadi bunuh diri. Pihak polis tidak tangkap sesiapa pun. Walaupun itu postmortem report show dia ada, Beng Hock dicedera teruk kepada leher dia sampai dia tidak sedar diri. Lepas tu ditemui mati jatuh bangunan. Ini semua adalah bukti-bukti bahawa ini satu pembunuhan. Semua Pakatan Harapan punya leader menyokong ini satu pembunuhan. Mereka memberitahu kita semua rakyat Malaysia. Kalau mereka satu hari nanti mereka dapat kuasa pemerintahan, mereka akan membela Beng Hock. Mereka akan mencari kebenaran kes pembunuhan Teoh Beng Hock. Mereka tidak akan melepaskan pembunuh Teoh Beng Hock. Kenapa hari ini NFA? Ini satu tamparan kepada muka semua Pakatan Harapan. Saya selepas dapat surat ini, kita asyik bertanya dari mesej saya teks semua DAP leader. Mereka pasal NFA ni. Apakah pandangan mereka terhadap NFA? Kenapa mereka semua diam diri sampai hari ini? Sudah 2 minggu lalu. Pihak Perdana Menteri lagi langsung tak ambil kira, tak ambil kisah pasal Teoh Beng Hock. Masih ingat ke 10 bulan lalu dia berjumpa dengan keluarga kita. Dia cakap dia ambil tahu semua kes perkembangan siasatan Teoh Beng Hock. Dia tahu pun macam mana keadaan Beng Hock pada masa itu. Seperti yang dia lalui pada tahun 1999. Masa dia di tahanan, dia ditombok oleh pihak itu IGP, polis pada masa itu. Polis siasatan polis pun cakap, ini tak ada unsur jenayah, ini tak ada eyewitness, tak ada orang nampak siapa yang tumbuk itu Anwar Ibrahim. Lepas tu, mau tutup kes. Semua rakyat berdiri, bersuara, memberi tekanan kepada pihak polis dengan kerajaan. Dengan sebab itulah kita ada RCI yang bagi menuntut keadilan untuk Dato' Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Pihak IGP yang berlaku salah telah dipecat, dihukum penjara. Adakah ini semua undang-undang? Adakah ini semua keadilan hanya diberi kepada orang-orang tertentu? Ini adalah double standard. Kenapa timbalan Perdana Menteri Anwar Ibrahim pada masa itu ditumbuk di dalam tahanan, pihak polis boleh ditangkap dan dihukum? Kenapa tak? Mengapa Teoh Beng Hock dicedera teruk sampai tidak sedar diri? Lepas tu dijumpai jatuh bangunan. Kenapa tak ada orang bagi satu alasan jawapan? Kenapa satu orang tak ada bagi memikul tanggungjawab? Kenapa tidak ada seorang pun ditangkap? NFA, pihak polis cakap tak ada cukup bukti. Biar saya cakapkan bagaimana mereka mengenali kes ini. 16 tahun lalu, masa itu 2009, pihak polis cakap ini sudden death. Tak tahu siapa yang bunuh dia atau dia dibunuh diri. That's why kita ada inquest. Masa inquest kita nampak banyak pihak polis tak ambil itu evidence, mau betul-betul siasat betul-betul, semua tak ada ambil. Kenapa? Melindungi pihak SPRM. Kita nampak itu AG Chamber pergi, dia ada pendirian sendiri. Mau cakap Beng Hock case, Beng Hock bunuh diri. Pihak semua marah. Anwar Ibrahim, Pakatan leader, dia bercakap dengan keluarga kita. Satu hari nanti saya memegang kuasa, saya akan siasat betul-betul, saya akan dapatkan satu Jawapan untuk semua orang. Ada tak? 8 kali siasatan. 8 kali panggil keluarga kita. Bagi semula statement. Mengapa? Kerana mereka hanya menumpukan siasatan dari segi bunuh diri. Kenapa pihak polis sangat bodoh? Pihak Mahkamah Tinggi sudah menolak bunuh diri, kemungkinan bunuh diri dengan kemalangan. Mengapa pihak polis sengaja tak nampak itu keputusan mahkamah? Mengapa? Mengapa? Pihak itu, kita Pakatan Harapan leader cakap mesti cari, mesti siasat dengan betul-betul. Anwar Ibrahim 10 months ago, in front of all us, my family member and the son of Teoh Beng Hock, dia cakap apa? Dia cakap dia akan menyuruh pihak polis membuka siasatan kertas dengan merujuk kepada keputusan Mahkamah Rayuan. Dia akan menggunakan semua penal code yang dituju oleh Mahkamah Rayuan. Ini yang dia janjikan. Saya ada rakaman, saya akan showkan. Saya tengah tunggu Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. You kena tanya sendiri. You kenapa tak ada bagi jawapan? You beritahu kita. Ini kerajaan baru. Ini kabinet baru. Ini menteri baru. Ini pasukan polis yang baru. Ini AG Chamber yang baru. Kita harus bagi mereka satu chance. Dia minta keluarga kita bagi chance mereka. Siasat betul-betul. Anwar Ibrahim cakap kalau dia punya keputusan siasatan dia tak baik, dia akan tegur mereka, minta alasan. Minta alasan daripada mereka. Mengapa? Tapi hari ini sudah 2 minggu. Pihak polis cakap apa? Mereka mengguna Seksyen 342 untuk menyiasat kes pembunuhan. Saya tanya Anwar Ibrahim, you cakap betul-betul. Mau tanya, apa jawapan? Kenapa tak ada beritahu kita semua? Kenapa pihak polis guna kurungan salah 342? Bukan apa yang sepatutnya mengikut undang-undang Malaysia. Pihak AG Chamber. Apa kegunaannya mengambil siasatan polis yang tidak sempurna dan mengklasifikasi kes ini sebagai NFA? Ini adakah tanggungjawab AG Chamber ke? Ini adalah bersahabat. Kenapa? Pihak polis sudah cakap dia tak cukup tenaga kerja. Dia tak cukup resources. Pihak polis cakap dia mau panggil keluarga kita tak bekerja sama. Ini menunjukkan mereka masih guna cara yang sama. Cara yang sama untuk mensiasat Teoh Beng Hock dari segi bunuh diri sahaja. Kenapa AG Chamber boleh tolak kertas siasatan yang tak sempurna, tak mematuhi undang-undang, kenapa dia tidak buat? Jangan sesekali memperbodohkan semua rakyat Malaysia. Pihak polis tidak ambil tindakan, langsung tidak ambil tindakan untuk menangkap semua suspek Teoh Beng Hock, pembunuh Teoh Beng Hock. Pihak polis dari 16 tahun sehingga hari ini, dia tak pernah pun menangkap seorang suspek pembunuh Teoh Beng Hock untuk memberi siasatan. Pihak polis cakap dengan kita apa? Kali ini siasatan. Dia cakap, ada suspek-suspek SPRM menolak panggilan untuk beri keterangan. Dan polis tidak ambil apa tindakan. That's the reason why no enough evidence. Bukan apa yang dituduh oleh segelintir orang. Ini jawapan yang bukannya kalau kita mau, that's why kita tolak. Kita meneliti 16 tahun apa cara polis menyiasat kes ini. Polis tidak profesional, tidak transparent. Polis tak ada ambil kira untuk menyiasat pembunuhan. Dari segi pembunuhan Teoh Beng Hock, dia pergi high profile, pergi tempat kejadian buat apa? Ambil 3D, beritahu kita dia mau siasat macam mana Beng Hock boleh jatuh dari bangunan. Tapi dia cakap jatuh dari bangunan dari segi adakah dia lompat sendiri, macam mana dia boleh jatuh, ataupun dia dengan pertolongan orang lain dia jatuh dari bangunan. Kenapa pihak polis tak menyiasat? Mungkinkah Beng Hock dibuang dari bangunan? Kenapa dia tak siasat? Ada orang kata ini kegagalan keputusan ini, kita tak boleh menyoal pihak kerajaan. Kenapa? Ini deep state. Deep state apa? Deep state tu semua itu staf kerajaan yang bekerja lama, termasuk pihak polis, AG Chamber yang bekerja lama di dalam pejabat kerajaan. Itu deep state. So, siapa yang mengawal mereka? Menteri kita. Kalau mereka tidak dikawal, tidak menjalankan tugas mereka, mereka harus dipecat. Apa yang Anwar Ibrahim beritahu kita, kalau dia dapati polis tidak menjalankan tugasan mereka, dia akan pastikan ambil tindakan terhadap mereka. Kenapa tak ada? 2 minggu sudah berlalu. Anwar Ibrahim, Dato' Sri, Perdana Menteri kita, pada ada peperangan di luar negeri, you boleh openly ask international court to carry out the investigation, use the murder. Why not Teoh Beng Hock? Why not? Why we need to justify? This case have to open investigation under murder. Why we need to justify? Why you can openly ask or help other country leaders being killed in the war? Why you not your citizen? Kita punya menteri-menteri sekarang sangat sibuk berdiam diri sahaja. Saya menyuruh supaya semua rakyat Malaysia, bukan hanya kita fight, kita menegak keadilan untuk Beng Hock, bukan hanya untuk keluarga kita sahaja. Ini kes yang sangat jelas, ini kes pembunuhan. Ini ada post-mortem result. Kita sudah buat second post-mortem. Autopsy report cakap dia cedera teruk. Bolehkah kita terima ni jawapan tidak ada action, no further action? Boleh tak kita terima? Tak boleh. Kalau kita terima satu saksi yang tidak berdosa, yang tidak bersalah, jadi saksi menolong pihak SCRM boleh mati sia-sia, dia sudah ditunjuk, dibunuh, kita boleh terima NFA. Apakah akan berlaku sekiranya you jadi mangsa yang seterusnya? Sekiranya anda menjadi mangsa seterusnya, pihak polis masih guna cara yang sama, melenggang-lenggangkan siasatan. Ada bukti-bukti membuktikan dia adalah satu pembunuhan, tapi pihak polis biarkan. Menteri semua diamkan diri mereka. Bolehkah anda bolehkah anda buat apa yang saya buat? Kita tak akan terima jawapan NFA. So, saya berharap semua pihak rakyat Malaysia, semua rakyat-rakyat Malaysia bangun menyuara kepada kerajaan kita. Kita tak terima NFA. Pihak polis harus jalankan tugasan mereka, bukan bersahabat dengan mereka punya pegawai-pegawai untuk tutup kes ini. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you, Leland. With that, I think we need to end today's this solidarity event. I think the conclusion is very clear that Malaysian civil society reject the non-further action decision by the police. The second, we demand accountability from the enforcement agency, SPRN, politician, cabinet minister on this Teoh Beng Hock's death. Third, we call on the government not to practice double standard, and they must conduct professional investigation and bring the perpetrator to justice. Number 4, all the citizens must take actions to provide the remedy and to ensure justice for any unjust cases. We thank the support from all the civil society organization and all the citizens. Your presence is very important. You give us the energy and momentum to continue the journey to pursue the justice. And it's very important that civil society organization to provide mutual support to each other. For us as well, I think for in the past 15 years, we also try to provide support to Bersih, to the anti-dam campaign, to the death in custody issue, and the others issue, and also the Undu Ajambaki campaign. So we need to build this kind of the culture of solidarity so we can fight together to ensure the democratization of Malaysia. So in the next few weeks, we will announce more activity and campaign. So please follow us, follow our Facebook page, Teoh Beng Hock Association for Democratic Advancement, and try to support our next step of action. And as our colleagues say, please contact your member of parliament, your adun, to put pressure on them that it's time to take action, not to stay quiet. Thank you very much. Thank you.